As we continue this morning with our special broadcast, an entire day dedicated to 365 days of the genocide in Gaza and also 75 years of occupation. And at Salam Media, as we reflect on the last year and also reflecting on our very own coverage that has been non-stop, relentless with regards to the genocide in Gaza, in highlighting the truth, speaking up, being the voice of the voiceless, and we will continue. And we've spoken to cross sections of people right across the entire world. And sadly, even our correspondents in Gaza, we don't know at this point in time how many of them are here, how many of them are living. And for me personally, just covering this genocide in Gaza, one of the saddest moments was when I heard of a writer by the name of Rana Shuber, who spoke about the excellence of the students of Gaza in achieving their results. And when the tweet came through on X, when I learned of her death, it actually became very, very heartbreaking. And it became quite personal because this is someone that I had just spoken to a few months ago, and having to learn that she was one of the thousands and thousands that were killed. And again, looking at many of our correspondents in Gaza that we've spoken to, unfortunately, we actually lost a lot of contact. But since then, we've still continued amplifying our voices for the people of Palestine, because it is only together that we can break the cycle of violence, the siege on Gaza. And going back to the 29th of April, again, going down memory lane, it's the people of Gaza who need the rest of us to step up, to demand from our governments, to add more pressure on our governments to stop Israel's criminality. And I'd like you to go down with Rihab Sharida, who is a member of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, the FFC media team. Before we get to Wits Liberated Zone, we'll be talking to two students, two young students, Alia and Iman. But let's play this clip first.
Only together can we break the siege of Gaza. You know, it's not, it's the people of Gaza need the rest of us to step up, to demand from our governments, to add more pressure to, on our governments to stop Israel's criminality. The example of South Africa is a stunning example of diplomatic support for on a state level, to try and stop Israel from committing its atrocities, because for so many years now, Israel has been committing grave injustices, violating every single human rights convention and international law conventions when it comes to occupation and these matters, and with impunity. So finally, we're starting to see the kind of pressure that's needed. We need more of it. We need to keep adding the pressure. We need global support for this flotilla mission, because in many ways this flotilla mission represents not just those who are going to be on the boat, but it represents the global grief of watching this genocide unfold for 7 months. It represents, we've said before, we're taking the protests from the streets to the seas. And that global solidarity, that outpouring of love for the people of Gaza in the face of such violent destruction is the only thing that I think that keeps us going and keeps us going together. And together we can do this.
Yes, taking this fight from the streets to the sea. And that was Rihab Charida. And this is a fight that is taken on at all levels. And we've seen the solidarity with the people of Palestine. We're looking at young people. We're looking at our educational institutions. We're looking at universities. And we've seen it right across the entire world, how university students, young people, have actually rallied behind the people of Gaza, behind the Palestinian cause. And South Africa is no different. And this is the reason why we're joined by two young students, at Wits, Alia and Iman, Wits Liberated Zone, hosting a Vigil also to amplify the voices of the people of Palestinians and their resilience. Iman and Alia, assalamu alaikum, welcome, and we thank you. Shukran for your time this morning.
Walaikum salam.
Yes, Iman, just to start off with you, it is clear that young people have taken the Palestinian cause to heart, as they've always been. South Africa, we know for a very, very long time, university students at the forefront of the struggle, and I'm sure also equally encouraged by what you see happening globally, where young students have put a lot of pressure even on their universities, on their campuses, in terms of their support for in any way whatsoever for towards the Zionist state of Israel.
Yeah, I think it's really important for young people to be involved in not just activism, but human rights issues, in social issues. I think it's important for young people to be aware of the things that happen in the world, considering that it's the next generation that's going to lead, So it's quite important that we are involved in things like this and that we know that just because we are free in some parts of the world doesn't mean that we can just let go of the rest or ignore the rest. Everything is important and everyone is important. And I think that it's very important for young people to acknowledge that and fight for that.
Alia, when we reflect on the last year and when we look at Gaza in particular, we know a large percentage of the population in Gaza made up of young people, people like yourselves, people who have had hopes and dreams, university students, children that haven't gone to school for well over a year as well. And just, personally, in terms of how does this actually make you feel? Because at the end of the day, I know hosting a Virgil at Wits Liberated Zone as well, but also many, many young people speaking out and just, looking at it from a young person's perspective to see youth who have had dreams, who have had hopes, and all these shattered by a single strike.
Um, actually, I shouldn't find it shocking, but it's shocking that some people can just dissociate from such a large population who are going through this atrocities because we all on the same planet. We all have these dreams and aspirations, and we all try our best. We go to university, we try to get a job, and the fact that there's this large population who have gone under constant attack, who are just like me and you, and people can't see that. And they kind of like, I think because it's been stretched over a year and it's so constant and it's every day, people have become demoralized and they kind of brush it off as Middle Eastern problems. And they don't see the people in Palestine as one of us, as they don't see them as human anymore. They just expect it, like normalize it so much. So I think part of doing this vigil and having awareness every single, as often as we can, is showing that, trying to humanize them to everyone's eyes, show them that these are just people just like us with dreams and ambitions, and they just want to study like us. And yeah.
Yes, and also, Iman, looking at young people taking the struggle, because today we are not only commemorating 365 days since the 7th of October, we are talking about 75 years. And we've seen how Palestinians have embraced this cause from generation to generation. Now, the two of you, both Alia and yourself, Iman, the new generation, the current generation, and to take the struggle forward, just how important it is, and perhaps also taking a look at an institution like WITS in terms of making an impact and on fellow students and in embracing this cause, in supporting this cause towards the freedom, towards the liberation of the people of Palestine, for the sake of Palestine, but also for the sake of their young people, for the sake of future generations.
I think something that's very important to note is that in order to actually make progress, every generation needs to believe that we will be the last. We will be the last generation to fight for Palestine because we will get it right. And as Alia said, around this time, people get very demoralized, they get desensitized. It's a difficult time for a lot of people, but for as long as we continue to believe that we will be the last generation fighting for a free Palestine, a free Sudan, a free Congo, for a free world, we will continue to make progress. And even if we don't, it becomes that much easier for the next generation. In regards to an institution like Wits taking a stand on Palestine, I think that's something that's really important and essential for, changing the narrative, changing how not only students think, how academics think, how alumni think. It changes how the world thinks. And Wits is quite a big institution, good reputation, fantastic reputation. A lot of the students have carried that forward with, standing in solidarity with the people of Palestine, with all oppressed people around the world. So I think it's really important that not only university students, but the university community, the university itself takes a stand and stands in solidarity with Palestine.
Alia, today not only marks the end of a year, in fact, it's a beginning of a new year. It's a beginning of a new challenge. It's a beginning of a new struggle. It's a beginning of more sacrifices that we need to make. And raising our voices in solidarity with the people of Palestine. We need to continue regardless. And this is why I'm saying this is a new beginning. And this is important, and important for people like yourselves, for young people, to continue in the struggle, to continue with hosting events, vigils, in whatever form, so that we continue amplifying the voices for the people of Palestine. And just from your side, in terms of the impact this is actually making in campus, and I'm sure that a lot more people, a lot more younger people are a lot more wiser. They know a lot more after having witnessed what has taken place in the last year, and they are better armed with a lot more to take the struggle forward.
Yeah, we this new year we will not stop like fighting. We'll continue going on. And what we've noticed on in these protests is that, especially in the beginning days during campaigns and stuff, a lot of students actually didn't know what was going on. And when they did find out what was going on, they were very interested and they did engage a lot. And I think, especially as an institute in South Africa, the ties between apartheid and our history and what's going on in Palestine is so prevalent that when we when we show it to the rich students, a lot of them are welcomed into the clubs and they're very interested in this initiative. So we'll continue doing that. Yeah.
Well, shukran for that to both of you, Iman and Alia, for taking time out this morning in being part and parcel of this broadcast as we commemorate the 7th of October. Once again, we thank you. We do appreciate you and all other young people who have obviously embraced this cause, who have taken this to heart, and also all the struggles, so that together we can work towards what we ultimately want to achieve, and that is the freedom and the liberation of Palestine, inshallah. And we trust and we hope that you and I and all of us will see that liberation, that freedom in our lifetime. So all the best to both of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, two young people, Wits Liberated Zone. We're talking with Alia and Iman on how young people have embraced this cause for the people of Palestine. And with that, we're heading for a break. Remember, we've got a lot more to come right until 10 a.m. and even beyond that, where we've got an entire day that is dedicated to the people of, to commemorating the people of Gaza. And next up, obviously, we still have got another clip that is coming through, because Etsalam Media, once again, we have been non-stop, we have been relentless, and we know that at this point in time, Israel has made it very, very clear, the occupying entity has made it clear that they are not interested. In fact, we've seen the arrogance of the Zionist entity extending itself not only to Gaza, but also into Lebanon as well, and determined, because we know of the numbers that we know of, 75% are made up of women and children, and they are not interested in doing in stopping, but more interested in going ahead with killing of more children, more women, more men in the occupied Palestinian territories. On July 2024, we even spoke with Osama Nazal, who is a Palestinian journalist based in Jenin.
The Israeli Prime Minister office, the war criminal, the killer of children in Gaza, Benjamin Netanyahu, issued a statement yesterday or 2 days ago confirming that Israel is not concerned about stopping the war, confirming that Israel is going to continue its genocidal campaign against Palestinians, because he says that any deal that Israel could reach must guarantee that the war won't stop. So Israel is not interested in stopping the war on Gaza. Israel is determined to go ahead with killing more children and women of the occupied Palestinian territories, and the Israeli Prime Minister is turning a blind eye to all the international calls and to all the people's appeals to stop this mad war against the women and the children of Palestine. So I think that Israel is failing any effort by any party, even if the party that is broking and mediating today is the United States, and we know of the relationship, the organic relationship between Israel and the United States. Despite that, Benjamin Netanyahu is rejecting the United States President's initiative that the Palestinians agreed to, and declares from time to time that he is going to live up to the expectations of the extremist terrorist government ministers like Beni Gvir and Smotrich, and continue the war in Gaza and the colonial settlement building in the occupied West Bank. And as I mentioned, that here in the West Bank, the city of Tul Karim and its refugee camp are living now, right now, the situation that Gaza is living. Israeli bulldozers are destroying everything, detaining, shooting, beating, doing everything bad that people could think of.